Hey everyone, it's Thursday evening, August the 11th, 2022. We're going to stop it with the episode numbers. We're just going to give you the date and time. And this is Talking from the Cheap Seats, and I am Rumble.
And I am the Gazoo.
And we talk sports better
than you.
So,
all right, Mr. Rumble.
You lead it off tonight, brother.
I'm going to lead it off, okay? Let's start with some good news, okay? Let's start with the Boston Bruins, all right? Hockey season, preseason's right around the corner, all right? And the Bruins have finally, after a month or so of it being reported, have finally signed both David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron to one-year deals, as well as the kid Pavel Zacha to his one-year tender. Yep. So the Bruins have ultimately their first line and second line, the first line, second line, third line, and fourth line centers.
Once all injuries are done with, yes.
Yeah. Well, with those guys, the centers are done. You know, you figure that Brad Marchand is going to be on the mend. Charlie McAvoy. You know, I had this conversation the other day with somebody, and if the goalies can get hot and at least keep them in it through December, they have a chance to contend for a good playoff spot.
Can I cut you off really one quick second?
Yeah.
You know what I found very fascinating the other day, as much as people complained about the Bruins goaltender, just because I don't want to lose it on this point, was that the other day on Felger and Maz, you know that Felger's he was part of the Bruins, pre-game and after game, but it was sticks and bumps and sticks, but it was a show that was put on by NBC.
Yep.
Anyways, it wasn't on this year. He loves hockey. To get what I was saying to, I believe he had mentioned it the other day, and I was astonished. But the Bruins were top 5 in goals against average as a goaltending tandem last year, which, with the way that people made the Bruins season feel last year, was if we had Swiss cheese in that.
Yeah, it was more.
Was it deceiving? I mean,
the goals. So yes, it's kind of hard because they were ranked 5th in goals against, but the hard thing is where they were ranked as goals for, and a lot of that stems from the first 2-3 months of the season last year. They didn't play that well. They weren't that good, and then they really turned it on. The thing was, I think what made it deceiving was when Swayman was hot, Ullmark wasn't. When Ullmark was hot, Swayman wasn't. There was never really a time with the tandem were just unstoppable.
Yeah, it was never a tag team type deal.
Right.
It was one guy's hot, the other guy's the absolute drizzling dog shits.
Right.
The other guy who's the drizzling dog shit gets hot, and the hot guy becomes out like a light. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, I think if the Bruins can hear, you have to admit the mentality of the Bruins is phenomenal right now, in my opinion. I guess after they announced that David Montgomery was being the head coach, Brad Marchand called him on the phone and said,
several discussions, as I've heard.
And pretty much told him, we're ready to play hockey. We're ready to play your hockey. We're ready to win for you. So that tells you a lot. It's a team that wants to win. They kind of have to win if Don Sweeney wants to retain his job, I think. The question is, will they be able to contend? Because the first few months, you have no Charlie McAvoy, you have no Matt Grzelcyk, you have no Brad Marchand. When they're healthy, it could be one of those things where you stay right, you keep your head above water, and you tread, and then when your team gets healthy, you explode. So
it's Marchand who won't be back until the new year, correct?
Marchand's out likely until the start of the new year. Same thing with McAvoy. McAvoy's back, I think, in late or mid-December.
But at least we have Patrice.
We'll have Patrice, we'll have Krejci, we have Pasta, we have Hall.
So we could always, if we wanted to, just in hypothetical sense, we have our centerman, which is Bergeron and Krejci.
And Charlie Coyle and Thomas.
I'm not worried about the last two lines. I worry. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, but let me just
in order to be a complete hockey team, you have to have a complete team, and I understand that.
The last two lines, the third and fourth line, third line is that mixture line of you're gonna get you hope you can get a couple of goals, couple of assists, and that line is designed to hopefully contend with another team's second line, maybe in a first. But that fourth line is the grinder line. That's that if they can go out there and wear down a team's first line or a second line, that's where your games are won. Sometimes.
Yep. Your second line.
Back in the day when the Bruins won the Cup in 11, they called it the Merlot line.
Yep. So, I'm a sports talk, Boston Sport Talk Radio. I love to listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
They brought up a simple fact that the Bruins right now, and it goes again, listening to Felger and Maz, because they ate this right up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Felger eats this up. He's happy that everything happened. You know what I mean? But then he came up with so here's, before I get with that, I want to go over what I would think would be the top two lines right now, but I don't know who the wingers essentially would be. Along with these first two guys, I would leave. Your centers, your first centerman is Bergeron, and your second centerman is Krejci.
Correct.
The deal is, where do you put Hall, and where do you put Pasta to start the season?
So,
do you split them up? Do you put Pasta with Krejci?
No. Well, yes. Here's what I would do. I would make, because when healthy, you're gonna have two number one line. You're gonna have a 1A and a 1B line, really, if you think about it, right? My thing is this: with a healthy Krejci coming back, with Pasta and Hall, who have already built a chemistry, I personally would rather see a line of Hall, Krejci, and Pasta stay together, keep that line, build that chemistry. Bergeron with DeBrusk, and you put a guy at left wing until Marchand comes back.
Yeah.
Then you drop that guy down to the third line.
Is there anybody you think right now that the Bruins might sign before the season that could quite possibly be the person that would fill that void?
No, but there are rumors. Somebody came up with, not a rumor, but a hypothetical, and it wouldn't fill the void, but it'd be a person who was known to the Bruins, former Bruin, isn't a number one line guy, but someone that you could bring in that could help the younger guys and help protect the Bergeron. In a DeBrusk, and he wears number 17. His name was Milan Lucic. They talked about how this is the last year of his deal. Calgary will probably look to get out from under the deal, even if they had to pay a portion of it. Who knows? I don't know if he'd want to come back because he lives out there. He's a Vancouver guy.
Yeah.
Not that that would be more of just kind of a protection. I think if there's anybody that could potentially step up and help, I want to see if this kid Pavel Zacha, he's a 25-goal scorer, or the young kid Lysol that they have that phenom. So,
I'd like to see the kid that they got from Jersey. I think with the 25 goals, it sounds very intriguing. But then again,
left, you put Zacha on the right. And then you let them play with Bergeron until Marchand's back, and then you drop Zacha to the third line.
What about having it all What about having it all?
So I had that conversation with my father-in-law, but the problem is Hall and Pasta have already built such a chemistry last year.
Yeah.
Why break that up? You don't. To me, that's poor management to break that up. Hall is not a number. Hall is a first or second line guy on any team. He's not a third line guy.
No. I'm just saying, what if it was Krejci, Pasta, and you put Hall, Bergeron, and Marchand together?
Because you don't want to put Hall or Marchand on their off wing. I know they can play it, but they're better left wingers.
Okay.
But so that's where I'm at. I figured we start with the Bruins. I'm excited for the season.
Well, I just want to give I want to spend 2 to 3 more. I'd like to give the Bruins 15 minutes of my time.
Yeah, because the team here that deserves no time. But let's go.
Anyways, so with that being said, the Bruins are trying to recreate in a way, shape, and form 2018. All they need to do is talk Zdeno Chara, there has been rumblings that quite possibly Chara returns on a 1-year deal, but he's not willing to come out and say if he wants to play yet because he's waiting until the end of August.
I know.
To let teams know if he's going to become available. One of the teams that he would do business with because of what's going on here in Boston, and I know we've talked about this, but can't there be some nights where Chara's just sitting up in the birds and like up in the bird's nest, and we basically, I look at it this way: you let him play, but his biggest minutes and his biggest assets will come towards the end of the year and come playoff time. Why can't that be done? I just, you know what I mean? What playoff hockey is the most amazing hockey in the world. Let's face it. There's nothing like, so you and I really don't know the energy and just the pure determination, the je ne sais quoi, as the French would say, that fancy word, of what you bring when it comes to playoff hockey. What if the minutes are managed right, why can't he be a third line defenseman?
He could be.
Go out there and help. With some, that's all I'm saying. I don't want him coming here and being a first and second line paired up. No, I'm not talking that, man. I'm talking a morale guy that comes in.
Listen, if you told me,
almost like a Brian Hoyer that plays.
You told me Chara comes in here for $1 million to be a third line, seventh defenseman, third line. I do it in a second.
Okay, that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you right now.
I do it.
Okay.
I do it because of what he can bring.
Yes.
Oh, it's shit, but I do it knowing what he can bring.
At least he'll hit. At least he'll try and hit somebody.
Well, that's what the Bruins need.
Because I'm going to waste a minute or so more. I reiterate to 2018. The team was slow in 2018. We now fast forward to the 2022-2023 season.
But that's not what defeated the Bruins.
I understand that. I understand that. What makes the Bruins, other than that they experience, what makes them that much better? What makes this any different?
Well, it's a different system now, so maybe Chara would work in this system. This is a Montgomery system. This isn't Bruce Cassidy's system. This is Montgomery's. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, also, he didn't just work in Bruce Cassidy's system. He worked in Claude. Get it right. System. Claude the Chode.
Yeah, but
Julian.
Perfect for him.
Yeah.
But he was also 10, 15 years younger when he worked in Claude's system.
Yes, sir. I ask you this because you're like, I pay attention, but you watched more hockey than me over the last 10 years. You've watched more Bruins hockey than me. It's not to say that when playoff time or I'm a last 20 game guy. I've been that way for the last 10 years.
That's me with basketball.
I'm a last 20 games guy. Basketball, I'm there all year. Football, I'm there all year.
Yeah, football with both. Baseball,
The Red
you can have-
Sox, which will be our next topic.
you can have.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've been very discouraged.
Turn the TV off, maybe.
I
You can be honest.
yes.
Well, let's lead right into it because I mean that's gonna. So let's lead into it. So the Red Sox are finding new ways to lose.
So there's a lot of different things that have been coming up about why there is so.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you. You know why?
Yeah.
Because management, not Alex Cora, management fucked their own team over.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. They have fucked their own team over. They have this new mentality of we're not going to go over.
But we have not listen. I understand that you think that they have this new mentality, but can I tell you? I think that John Henry is fucking off in Neverland.
No, he don't care. John Henry don't care. He's won. Like I said to you the other day, he's won 4 championships as the owner. He made his money off the team. He does not care about championships.
Yeah,
because the Red Sox sell out every game because they do the pre-sale and then they do the initial sale and then there's a lot of the pre-sales. So they're selling all their tickets. They have the highest ticket price. They have the highest friggin' concession price, and I know because I was at Motley Crue. I was at Motley Crue Saturday. It legitimately it cost me a goddamn C note to have with me and one person. My kid, a friggin' C note to eat drink at the park. 2 people, $100. Imagine a family like me. Imagine you taking Nicole and the kid, right? The problem is the Boston Red Sox management, ownership team brought in a guy who is a believer of their system of, well, we can win with less and we won't pay. We don't need superstars. And their attitude is, yeah, you're right. Since we won 4 championships, we don't need. If we win, we win. If we lose, oh well, we'll blame it on the player. Remember, the Boston Red Sox had a top 5 player in the league, a 5-star player. He bets sold it to us that they were gonna let him walk because he was too expensive. Because we had the Xander Bogaerts and we had the Rafael Devers coming up, and now we're probably gonna lose one, if not both of them.
So there's a huge reason why I didn't watch the Braves series, especially because it made me think that the Red Sox should be like the Braves to a certain extent with all these young guys, like our outfield. And I know that if Jackie Bradley Jr. hits .215 and bats 9th on a team that you have 8 great bats. That's why Jackie Bradley Jr. it didn't matter. Kelly, we'll get to Chris Sale thoughts in a moment.
Yeah.
So let me finish. Bradley Jr. Yeah. And a lot of people agreed with me. It didn't matter when we had a great team in 2017, 2018, 2019, when the team was really good with these guys, that Bradley, it didn't matter what he hit. He was a 9th hitter. But you had 8 really strong hitters in your lineup, especially, was it 2017 was the year that Big Papi retired.
It was 2017. They won the World Series after Papi?
Yes, we won it the year after Papi retired because we almost got to the World Series in 2017.
That's right. So, yeah. But
so legitimately, that team had 8 great hitters in their lineup, man.
Yeah, so
listen, the Atlanta Braves are essentially what the Red Sox were achieving to be, but we let people go. You got Benintendi, who's playing outfield on a different team.
Let him go for nothing, and now he's playing for the New York Yankees.
Yep. You have Mookie Betts, who's someplace else.
He's with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And as much as Vasquez, to a certain extent, wasn't the best average hitter to a certain extent, but this year he was a clubhouse guy, and the pitchers loved pitching to him.
I know they did.
So when you think about it, you have the Killer Bees, and they should still, like, imagine if the Killer Bees were still in the outfield right now.
Yeah.
And you had a guy like Hosmer at first base.
Yeah.
Trevor Story at second base.
Bogarts at short and Devers at third.
Yes.
Yeah,
imagine.
Yeah, well, you could have had that, but the Red Sox don't want to pay the luxury tax.
Okay. So now, I heard a hypothetical today, a couple different hypotheticals. One is because of disarray of the management and the players.
The players
are hugely disappointed, and I'm talking player management, not upstairs suit management.
No,
I'm talking all on-field managers, and the players are not very happy with the suits.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Now,
I heard that.
From what I was told, that this could be the starting point of an inside to end up with quite possibly this being the end of what would be Chaim Bloom's season and his tenure with the Boston Red Sox.
So he's a fall guy, but Chaim Bloom is just a fall guy.
But the thing is, as much as we're led to believe there's other people like John Tomasi, who's always on Boston Sports Tonight. He's a Red Sox insider. Huge. He has said that it doesn't have to be Henry who's disappointed with Bloom. There's other people that are in that ownership brass that are not behind what Chaim Bloom is doing right now. Well, so if those other people are willing to step up, and hear me out, if those other people are willing to step up, Alex Cora, if he's fired tomorrow, is getting a job that same day, pal.
Answer me a question. Who does Chaim Bloom take his orders from? Management.
Sam Kennedy.
Upper management.
Sam Kennedy. And there's other people that are besides Sam Kennedy.
Jay.
No, because it's come out before that John Henry has said on different times, we're the Boston Red Sox, we should be spending money. No, so I
don't know about that, because
if he's lying about that, then like
he's lying, bro. You have to lie if you're John Henry, because you went and spent and bought all these other teams.
And then they believe that there's another reason why that there could be, because there's a Red Sox beat writer who I forget his name. I should have wrote the name down, but he works for the Globe. And as you know, the Globe writes good things about the Red Sox because it's owned by John Henry.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that aren't allowed to be leaked. And 2 days ago, there was a Globe guy who's a specific Boston Red Sox beat writer, that he's the one that reported the disarray, that this could be a way of getting Chaim Bloom out of his seat. Because there's other people other than Henry and Sam Kennedy who is in charge of what Chaim Bloom does. There's still other people.
Listen,
and those people may not be happy on what Chaim Bloom is doing.
Let me just put it to you this way, Jay. Chaim Bloom works for management, which is including ownership. The general manager.
I never said that. I didn't disagree with that.
I know that. And I'm telling you right now, I don't believe what any of these beat writers might think. I'm telling you.
But Henry don't let stuff like this be reported out of the Boston Globe. And that's what the reporters say to look at when you have certain characteristics on what is released by certain newspapers. As we know, we have news agencies that say Fox is for this, and and CNN's for that.
Right.
If here in Boston,
Of the
the
paper.
heel newspaper is the Boston Herald because it's not owned by John Henry,
I know, but
while the good guy newspaper is owned by the Globe, and it's the Globe reporter that works for John
Okay.
Henry that was allowed to put this in the paper.
Right.
And it doesn't happen.
Right. And that report says that John Henry is not happy with Hein Bloom. Okay. And it's in the Globe. And I'm telling you, that is because John Henry is the owner of the Globe. Therefore, they're not. He is getting. He's covering his own ass and letting Hein Bloom be the fall guy. When in actuality, it was directive of ownership to change the direction of this team and spend less.
Either way, John Henry owns the paper.
Yeah,
he allowed this. Listen, he allowed this to be reported.
He allowed that story, so he.
That's all.
Right.
Good. And then I hope he really feels this way.
No, he doesn't. That's the thing. I think he's just saying it as a front, so he doesn't look bad. Because if you're the owner of the Boston Red Sox and you're telling people, I want to spend less money and do more and still win, but then I'm going to take the money and buy the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I'm going to buy Manchester United or whatever team it is, Liverpool, and I'm going to buy this and I'm going to buy that. And you're putting out a product on the field that everybody knows it's the most expensive ticket in baseball, and you can spend $300 million and pay the luxury tax, and you can be the most competitive team on the field, but you chose not to, then you look like the worst owner in the history of the Boston Red Sox and probably top 5 worst owner or terrible owner in Boston history. But with that said,
he brought us 4 world championships. How's he?
Him doesn't matter.
I get you.
Now we win today. We don't win yesterday. So let's go to one more subject about the Boston Red Sox, and it's the one that Adam Jack Pelly has brought up, and that's the story of Chris Sale. You and I spoke last night.
Yeah, and I gave you the couple of breaking
I'm gonna
points.
let you go ahead. You speak what you heard. I think there's some truth to it.
There's three different reports. 2 reports are of the same, while one report is hugely contradicting the whole matter.
I think anybody who knows anything knows the reports that everybody heard. He was in a bike accident. Why don't you talk about the report that some people might not know, which contradicts it, is very believable.
So the bike accident, quite possibly, could have been the result of he was on his bike.
That's proof. Yeah,
he was in Chestnut Hill. He had just got done thrown over at BC. He lives off campus in Chestnut Hill.
Yep.
in the Boston College area.
Yep.
So it was a beautiful day out on Saturday, as we all know, in Massachusetts. So the lovely Chris Sale said, "Hey, honey, I'm fuck Uber Eats, fuck DoorDash. I don't give a shit if that restaurant delivers. I'm gonna go get on my bike and decide to ride to the sandwich store." Well, on his way to the sandwich store, as we know it, it's kind of lousy even riding a bike through Boston. So, quite possibly, it could have been a traffic jam. And in that traffic jam, said person you might have heard that, "Hey, Chris Sale, you fucking suck." Chris Sale, with the anger management issues that he does have, might have gotten into an altercation with said driver that's right, in the parking, while he was bumper in traffic in the Chestnut Hill area.
Yep.
There was 2 other, and they're basically the same. And Chris Sale, who still has on his left pinky, he is wearing a splint after throwing. Okay, so which means he's riding at 10 speed.
Yep.
And can only use brakes with basically 3 fingers on one hand
Right.
and 4 on the other. Chestnut Hill is in flatlands. It's called Chestnut Hill for a reason.
Right.
Okay. And it was said that a car pulled out in front of him, and at the same time he reacted, he went over the handlebars, and supposedly not just the wrist, but he suffered either, I believe it was a broken sternum or a broken pelvis.
But you know what? They only.
And if you look, there's been no word on Chris Sale. There's been absolutely nothing information wise, no press conference, no pitch. And what I find funny in the day and age that we have right now, that there's no cell phone to cop this. Because I'm going to tell you this: the only reason why I don't believe the altercation happened in traffic. Could have, you know what I mean? I think it could have occurred on a side street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where no one was around.
Yep.
Because to be in Chestnut Hill on probably Boston's second hottest day of the year, and not one camera phone was able to get any sort of picture of this altercation.
Yep.
But you'll see a carjacking. Somebody will get a carjacking.
Yep.
On a cell phone. Like, so we really don't know. I'd love to really know what the truth is. I'd really like to know, did he break his sternum or his pelvis? Is this part of it true?
Because I think we would have heard more of it. I think we did.
My whole thing right now, and I said this to a friend of mine at work, I don't care what you get for Chris Sale. You could get a dozen bats and 2 dozen baseballs and a pitching screen.
Time to go.
And yeah,
I'm with you.
I've had enough of the Chris Sale show.
Yep, time to go. I'm done. So
thank you for your contributions.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, do you know that he hasn't realistically played for the Red Sox since 2018?
Yep, I know that.
5 2/3 innings this year.
Yep. You know what? I'm going to put it to you this way. The Red Sox.
And I don't care that the Sox are 5 games out, because, like I said, I think that this is just me. No matter what, if there was positivity to look forward to, I think the morale in the clubhouse would be a lot better. I think a lot of it, and this is just an opinion, but the morale was already down to a certain extent to say, we're going to beat you with what we got, because they understood what they might be getting back at some point as far as help. And now that the proverbial help balloon has gotten popped and there is no patch for it, there's really nothing to look forward to.
There's nothing to look forward to, and put a stick of fork in them. They're done. But you mentioned morale. So that's going to lead me into what I'd like to spend just 5 minutes on. 5 minutes, then I want to give a good 10 minutes to the Patriots. Then I'd like to talk to you about something I talked to you about involving professional wrestling, and a topic you and we talked.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about. We're going to talk 5 minutes Celtics.
That 5 minutes, I'm saying, let's do the Celtics right now. We talk about morale, and a guy like Kevin Durant. We've had this conversation ongoing for the last couple of weeks. So obviously Durant, we all know, the paper said it. He went into the Nets ownership and pretty much said it's either me or the coach and the GM. He's ultimately, and we both agreed, he's forcing his way out of the Nets.
And then there's more to add to that story too. Yeah. Now reports have come out.
So I'll tell you this much: if they can get him without dumping, you're gonna lose Jaylen Brown no matter what.
That's automatic.
But if you can do it without dumping Marcus Smart, You kind of have to.
He ain't coming here. Okay, so then you haven't heard his second demand.
No, you told me this. You told me this. He said, if I want to go to the Celtics and I don't want, and I want to play with Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that.
He basically mentioned the other four that would be playing with him.
Yeah.
He mentioned Time Lord.
Yep, I know. Mention Al Horford. Yep.
Mention Al Horford. He goes, those are my fellas. That's who I want to play.
He's ultimately trying to tell them, lower your asking price, take Jaylen Brown, but you're not taking Marcus Smart. You're not taking these guys and trade me. That's what he's doing.
I believe ultimately at the end of the day, if Durant is a Boston Celtic, I think it takes Jaylen Brown, it takes Grant Williams, and it takes Derek White along with one first-round draft choice.
Okay. You're giving up. So you get Derek White, who's a 5 or a 6 man. He can start technically.
So I'm going to put this. We have to put this up real quick because this is a good question, and I'm going to tell you why. How about asking Sale to be a closer or get lost?
Nope, don't want him.
You show me right now in Major League Baseball a closer for the next 3 years that gets $30 million, and $25 million, and I'll let him pitch an inning a game. Why should I give a guy that realistically cares nothing, absolutely nothing about his teammates, and is an absolute anger management issue away from possibly killing himself accidentally? What if he had put his hand through that TV?
Yep.
And that glass slit the main artery in his wrist? Like, he is a moron.
Yeah.
His antics and his lifestyle ways need to leave Boston. I will happily, if it was the last thing on Chaim Bloom's list, I would believe that getting, like I said, a dozen Louisville Sluggers, 24 Rawlings baseballs, and a pitching net. I'm making that trade tomorrow.
Yep.
Chris Sale is nothing but a detriment to the Boston Red Sox.
Agreed.
He was a positive point on such a negative season that we've had. And I have been the most positive of Red Sox fans and Red Sox and armchair Red Sox reporters that we have had.
All right.
And I was in the belief that the team believed that with Chris Sale coming back, that was their trade line acquisition. They went out, they got a Gold Glove caliber, a guy who has won a World Series, and put Eric Hosmer at first base. To me, that's an improvement. Getting rid of Jackie Bradley Jr., no matter what he was hitting at 201, I would have sent Jarren Duran down, and Jackie Bradley Jr. should be manning center field with the bargain dollar store outfield that we have in Verdugo at one corner and Tommy Pham at another.
All right. Well, listen, I'm Red Sox tapped out. They make me sick.
So I want to know who this is. I don't trust Durant's 34-year-old banana legs. Adam Jack Pelly. I would rather keep Jay Brown. Okay,
again,
now I'm going to...
Now, we talked about that last week. And the thing is the Celtics don't need it. But the point is, and I want to just wrap this up real quick because we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. And I want to move on to the Patriots. You have 4 years of Kevin Durant, who happens to be one of the top players in the league and probably a top 10 all time. I would say Kevin Durant going to be top 10 all time in the league. You know what I mean? Or 2 years of Jaylen Brown. I'd rather have the 4 years. Give me 4 years with a guy who's got more talent than a guy who, for 2 years, who I assume is going to walk. He's gonna walk. I'm telling you. So
Do you
that's
ever
where
make
I'm at.
okay?
Give
Do
me
you
4
ever
years.
do you look at the odd wagers that like
Yes, we already talked about that. Yeah, I know
so
Celtics. Yeah, I
the
already know.
Celtics, not only that, today it came out that the Celtics will lead the NBA seasons. Put up that the Celtics will have the most wins in the NBA this season.
And that's without Durant. With Durant, they're gonna blow
Yeah.
it out of the water.
Okay. So now hear this out. Here, one last hypothetical.
Let's make it quick. I want to get to the pack.
Yeah. Say the Celtics make it all the way again with Jaylen Brown. It goes 7 games, and this time they lose by 2 points. Or they win it next year, and Jaylen Brown says, No. I'm gonna. What if the success makes Jaylen Brown want to re-sign with the Celtics? What if just at this time right now, in our belief, we believe that he doesn't want to be a Boston Celtic in the near future? Because this is the big reality point that we've heard Twitter, we've heard shaking my head, or we heard emoji like face gimmick. Like, we have not heard a word out of Jaylen Brown.
And you won't.
So with that being said, whatever happens, it happens. And I believe when you're a winner and you have a coach that people enjoy playing for, I think you'll attract people. I think Kevin Durant at the end of his career, I think a Jason Tatum right now attracts. I think we haven't even seen the potential of the Time Lord yet. We have just scratched the surface of the Time Lord. If he didn't miss those 25 games, they say the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award would have gone to Robert Williams.
All right. So I support it. So now let's transition to, you talk about coaching, and you mentioned the word coaching. Let's talk about what people are saying right now potentially is going to be an issue with our New England Patriots, in the fact that they're saying that the offense is all over the place, and it was stated that they have to start over. And that Mac Jones, their future stud quarterback, franchise guy, the guy for the next 10, 20 years maybe, is not buying in right now. I mean, it's come out. They say in the last week since we talked, they had a fist. The people having a fist fight, and Christian Barmore. And
can I tell you something? Fist fights, good people who understand football love say that the fighting is what you want.
They're saying people are frustrated. They're saying Mac Jones is upset because he doesn't have any permission to change plays. He's made snide remarks that were not said snidely, but kind of snide about, like, I know how to run the offense, blah, blah, blah. And the fact that they completely changed the offense from what he learned last year. And now we go into the first preseason game and not even a sniff of any of potential starters, with the exception of Taekwon Hill. Or Taekwon.
I'm in the second. I just started the second half from my recorded point of view. Yep. I've been looking back and forth. I thought their touchdown. Taekwon Thornton made a nice catch.
That's what a Taekwon Thornton. Yeah.
Yep. And now Zappy's in, but the Hoister made them look decent on the first drive. Their defense just created a fumble, recovered by Malcolm Butler. So can I tell you something? And this is just my opinion. Right now, because I am a football coach, I'm running I'm running the defense in practice tonight. But I'm also the offensive assistant. So while the head coach is calling all the plays on the offensive side of the ball, I go over to the defense and I work with the defensive back and the linebackers because defensive line coach calls the defense over there. So now I know every play in every formation. I as the D-back coach, I'm not putting my D-back guys into said positions like on how to defeat said play. I'm making them utilize their brain, like determining whether or not a man is off the line of scrimmage and is an eligible receiver. When we're making a bunch formation, where picks are, when a man in motion, what his coverage is. I'm letting these guys think it through. I know where the play's going. I know how to defeat the play, but I want the offense to look good. So with that being said, offense, and everybody will tell you, offense is the hardest thing to learn. And the Patriots are making their huge mistake right now by not having it's not even the offensive coordinator, but having a guy who has coached the Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan zone offense. If they had a person, it's the hardest thing is to teach the linemen it. And as we all know, your favorite guy, Matt Patricia, is supposed to be the line coach.
I know.
So I think if a guy came in and Matt Patricia didn't have to be the line coach, but could be helped or have an assistant with him on the line, I think that it would go. I think things would go a lot better.
All right. Well,
I'll have to say this. I'm not going to be the judge of what anybody says by watching practices. You know what I mean? Up. The Zappy almost got sacked in the end zone. So if you listen to a lot of this, Belichick said if he didn't have Tom Brady for so long, that he would have gone forth and changed the scheme. Would have gone ahead and changed the scheme. But with Brady being here so long, he didn't want to change anything up on him. And the reason why Belichick feels like that he's going after the change this year, he's been enamored with the Shanahan system because it's always given him defensive fits. And some of the teams that, you know, when you think about it, the Patriots used to lose to the Jake Plummer led Denver Broncos. We used to get beat by the Brian Greasy led Denver Broncos. And that, you know what I mean?
and
So,
yes,
like,
we beat. We beat the Sean McVay-led Los Angeles Rams.
Yes, we
It
have,
stepped
but
down.
for some reason, and I think it's because a lot of the quarterbacks and kids coming out of college are running these styles of offenses. So, do I agree with it? I would have. I after reading more into it and now knowing that they have nobody that is familiar with the said offensive change, my red lights go on. But if you would have told me that it's the original Patriots offense and Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, they in a way, shape, and form already know it because they brought that offense to their teams.
Okay.
So yeah, I believe. Listen, it's professional football. It's training camp. These guys have been in pads 5 times out of 12 practices. The other seven times have been shorts and a helmet. So they've only been in pads 5 times. We really don't know what anything looks like yet. What if Belichick does say, all right, by next week, says, you know what? We're going to have to go back to what the old thing. At least, like, not for nothing, at least what's there already knows last year's stuff. And supposedly, this is an easy system for receivers and people to catch on to, especially veterans.
Okay.
This is how it's going to be. I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to be the judge of anything of what the Patriots truly look like until in between week 3 and week 5.
All right.
You got to give NFL football. You got to give it. You got to get. I honestly believe with NFL football, you could start off 0-5 and finish the year 11-6 and make the playoffs. So during the first 5 weeks, you and I think the team sucks, and then all of a sudden goes 11-1 in the last 12, which it can happen.
You know,
it can happen.
It definitely can happen.
You know, the 11 wins can go 5, a loss, then they rip off the last 6.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know, so you can't be the judge of it right now. From what I'm seeing, and I can't listen, the Patriots defense looks swarming. There's some guys that didn't play last year that were rookies and second year guys that were injured and now on the field that they're talking highly about. So you know, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm one of the ones, Gazoo. I've said this off the air to you. There was going to be a time and day where you were going to have to experience life without Tom Brady.
Oh, we know this, yeah.
And there's going to be a day where now we're going to have to experience life without Bill Belichick.
I know.
So if you were to tell me that this is our 6-11 year and we fire Bill Belichick, I'm good. Good.
Okay.
Then let me enjoy my last 25 years of watching sports on this earth.
So let's talk about that now. Transition to something that I mentioned to you, and I put this up on our Gorilla Position, and it pertains to professional wrestling and one Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And I have a theory that I want to discuss real quick, and I think you agreed with me, but so as we all know, Vince abruptly retired fully from everything. He's not a part of WWE. He is officially 100% retired. He has no authority in the WWE anymore. Nothing to do with creative, nothing to do with the business aspect of it. He is collecting a check and he is retired. I said to you, and I said on the thing that my theory is this, an opinion. I do not believe it was solely due to the fact that he had, had affairs with a couple of employees that were mutual. It wasn't like he raped them. I feel that Vincent Kennedy McMahon has been told he has cancer. He does not look well. He looks sickly a little bit. He's gotten a lot thinner, even though I know he's getting older and he doesn't have the same muscle now.
I never said that. If I did disagree with you, I apologize. I have thought over the past year that Vince has looked like a character out of the Walking Dead.
I think that when Stephanie initially left, she was going, and then it was discovered that in that month after Stephanie left to when she was named interim CEO, that I think that is also when Vince was learning that he is not feeling well and that tests have come back. And I'm telling you, I have this hunch Vincent Kennedy McMahon has either got cancer again, because he beat it, like you said, 15 years ago.
That's the main reason why they had the hair versus hair match.
And I think that I think that he knows that he he can't work anymore if he's going to try to beat this. And yeah, that's where I'm at. And I really think that that's what's happening. And and let me tell you, like I said to you, Vincent Kennedy McMahon is the same man who said this to the federal government when he was being indicted on steroid possession and steroid distribution charges, said this to the government and won. This is the same guy who has never backed down from anything. His mentality and work mentality is second to none. He's a worker. I mean, the guy, people have said Vince will call you at 2:00 in the morning because he's talking business. He slept for 3 hours a day. They said he'd be at the office till 1, 2 in the morning, at the gym, then go home, sleep for 2, 3 hours. Then he's up again and working immediately. The guy was nonstop. And, it's for a guy with that kind of mentality to just abruptly quit over having sex with women that it was mutual sex, it was consensual. He just paid them to shut up and not talk about it. That's not gonna, that happens all the time, but not. It wasn't like there was nothing unconsensual. It was consensual. He was just trying to hide affairs because he didn't want his wife to find out, or he didn't want the public to find out, or he didn't want other people in the business.
I'm being told, sources have told, I have sources that are pretty strong in the Connecticut area that have worked for Vince McMahon, a good friend of mine. I still want to let the name out, but he's been on here. I interviewed him before.
Yeah.
Has told me that Vince hasn't been with Linda for basically 20 years.
For about 20 years. Yeah, ever since when Linda was doing her...
When Linda started her political aspirations.
Yeah. They're married legally, but yeah, they're not together.
They have been separated without people knowing. Mm-hmm. She's had her own Manhattan penthouse for 15 years. She's been living downtown Manhattan. She lives in a penthouse.
Yep. So that's where I'm at. I really think that this thing with Vince is more. There's more to it, and I think eventually we're gonna find out that Vince is sick and not doing well. His father, Vince Sr., people talked about when he was in the thing that it is now 20 million. What?
In Bish money? What's Bish money?
What are you talking about? I don't understand what the user is saying. Facebook user.
This is Forbes, who doesn't sign it. I can tell. Just you can tell. But Vin, it's now 2020. 20 million in hush money, it should say, not Bish money.
My point is on this is Vince is the type of guy that he ain't gonna care his attitude. I mean, he walked out on national television just to walk out and wave at the crowd the day after this all came out. He didn't care. He doesn't care that his attitude's gonna be, yeah. So what?
I can really agree, because steroid distribution is a lot more
worse
because there's a rich man every day that's paid off 4 or 5 ladies so that the wife didn't find out he was having extramarital affairs. What's the worst thing that's going to happen to Vince, Jimmy? He's not allowed in the pearly gates because he was not faithful to his wife.
Look at the wrestling business, my friend. 75 to 80% of the workers, the people who work in the business, are unfaithful to their husband or wife. They're all fucking around behind the scenes. Jesus Christ, Chris Jericho was having an affair on his wife with Kelly Kelly. It came out. And then, of course, lied about it probably through his teeth and got away with it. But he was having an affair on his fucking wife with Kelly Kelly. They all fucking do it. We all know it. We've lived it. You know it. They all do it. The only one that's probably not doing it is probably Triple H, because he's with his wife all the time.
Yep.
And he'd be dumb to realize that you don't fucking shit where you eat, especially where
their swingers.
Where you eat is or their swingers, one of it. But you know what I mean? You don't not when you have the $100 million ticket. Or
Yeah, I look at it this way. If I was Vince, unless it was rape, like look at how much it just shut up already. It only money, not no thing. It's just
That's all it
him
was.
banging women.
Him banging women and women that he worked
It's
with.
not raping. It's nothing like that, and they're not underage. So like, what's
When you peel back and when
he's
you
the guy
peel back,
next door.
right,
Whoever is putting this,
yeah.
he is the guy next door.
When you peel back the layers that are
Different
Vince,
than the
and you
other.
peel back and you look at what Vince is really about, anybody who really knows who Vince McMahon is all about, what he is or what he's like, would know that he wouldn't.
See, I can agree with this. What if Vince already knew he had the cancer by the time this came out,
So,
and that was his way of saying goodbye on SmackDown and Raw?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't look at
No, stop. That's no difference. You're wrong. Workers are no different than the owner. That's an incorrect statement because it's the same thing. Whether you own a company, whether you work for a company, whether you are a contractor for a company, if you're cheating on your wife, you're cheating on your wife. If you're cheating on your husband, you're cheating on your husband. And if you're out banging women or banging men or doing whatever, and you don't want people to know about it, and you're rich,
I want to kill the person that just said the game. I have it recorded, you bozo.
You can't get mad. They don't know that, Jay. They don't know
Oh,
that.
I said that.
It's all right. You'll see it. So you know to look forward to it. At the end of the day, that's what it is. And I just want to end it with this. Anybody who doesn't think that Triple H is going to bring the WWE back from its layer of kind of shitness lately are very foolish not to see what he's doing. The fact that he unbanned the word in wrestling to be said on televised television. The fact that he's bringing back talent. Just read 5 minutes ago, Fightful is teasing. I'm telling you, this man, he's going to bring the WWE out of its, I would say, out of its recession of kind of poor television, and you're gonna see the era of Triple H. It's gonna come. I'm already what I see.
The workers aren't using the company to hush the girls. You're wrong on this, Vin. This is a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
It don't matter. What we're talking about is cheating no matter what. Exactly. And yes, is it wrong that he took money from the publicly traded company to pay said women off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is. But to me, it's a lot worse to be indicted for steroid distribution, and not just to one people, to multiple people.
And whoever Facebook user is, the point is
it's Forbes, because he's calling you Vin.
The whole thing, a good point. The whole idea behind it is Vince, even by doing this, would not be quitting the company. Dexter Loomis, yes, baby. Vince would not be quitting the company just for that. He wouldn't abruptly retire. He would have stepped down as a CEO as he did, but he would not have retired 110% away from the business, completely done, if it wasn't for something else, and that's something else.
Or that he was told by shareholders and people close to the company that for the business sake of the company, you need to step away for a little. I think Vince. No, I know that. I know. I would think that if he had to step away for that reason, he would let you know. At this time, I'm stepping away because it's best for business. I could see him saying that.
So I'm telling you, and we agreed. And user, I'm sorry, but he is sick. He is sick.
He loves Dexter Loomis.
You mean? Dexter Loomis. I love it. I do.
Do they bring the the index to the main roster?
Dexter Loomis? He's going. Oh,
Index meaning
I
indie.
think it was just Loomis for now.
Where is he going?
Ian. Oh, he's on Raw. Ian,
Yes, but where is he going?
Baby.
Yep. So, all right, this Fightful thing. What is being reported right now?
Fightful is teasing Bray Wyatt. He's like, oh, on the subject, something about on the subject, talking about a potential Bray Wyatt return. And Fightful's pretty good. And I've already told you this. I've read already that he is on the list of people that are going to be back in the WWE. No way on Index. I agree. But he will be back in the WWE. Triple H was huge on him. Huge. And I'll end it with this.
I like this.
John Laurinaitis. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Johnny. See you later.
They fired him?
It's been reported he's been fired from the WWE. They said, best of luck in your future endeavors. Fired.
What's Pritchard? Mike tried to say that they fired. Mike tried to say Bruce Pritchard's fired.
Pritchard ain't going nowhere. He's still there because
but he's now the head creative no more.
That's because I'm
he's now the head of creative anymore.
That's because I'm OVER over. The next thing will be, I told you Shawn Michaels was running NXT. I told you. Yeah, now he is because Triple H put Michaels as head of creative for fucking NXT. Anyways.
What? Strowman, Rowan, Dexter, Bo Dallas, the new Wyatt family.
Strowman is
no Fiend
being talking about coming back.
I wouldn't doubt it.
But yes, just so you know, Pritchard's not going nowhere. He's well liked from what I know from Triple H. The other person that I guess isn't going nowhere right now is Kevin Dunn. Why, I don't know. Kevin Dunn must know where the fucking bodies are buried.
Well, as long as they just, restrict his
access to the women,
yeah.
Not even great.
So, all right, brother.
Been a great one this week.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, we had some positive stuff here in Boston. We had some negative stuff here in Boston to talk about. And we have some stuff to look forward to. So, next week, maybe there's more news for us to talk about. Let's hope.
All right. I want to thank everybody for listening and who's watching the rebroadcast on either Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. I had said a while back that I was going to have this on Spotify, and the person that was going to help me is basically, fallen onto some rough times. I'm not the most computer savvy dude, but if there's anybody out there who thinks they know a little bit about this and a little bit about that,
when it comes to podcasts,
when it comes to just coming and understanding the HTML on how to retransmit my stuff, hit me up on Facebook.
Send a private message. Yep.
Send me a private message, and I would love the help. I would even give you access to my studio so you could do everything with, and then you just tell me what to click, and it's beautiful.
Rumble, can you do me a favor? Can you put up the very last comment that came in, please?
Hold on, I want to see. H will keep Bruce Pritchard around long enough to show him how creative is done, and Bruce will be fondling H's balls. Yes. Yes, but
there you go. We're going to end it on that right there.
He's back.
End it right there, buddy. All right. Go ahead. Take it.
All right, everyone. I want to thank you once again for tuning in on a beautiful summer's evening. Summer doesn't have much time left. here August the 11th, 2022 at approximately 10:17 p.m. And we're about to bounce and go off the air. I'm Rumble.
I'm the Gazoo.
And once again, we talked sports.
Better than you.
See us next week, if we can see you from these goddamn cheap seats. Man, that fat guy smells.